Welcome to another Whip 'em Out Wednesday. Send all of your picks to Coach Jared. He wants to see them. And since our our YouTube thing says that we don't have any women watching us, he should have a really good time with this. So I'm not going to tell you how to get them to him. You know, you got to figure that out on your own. I expect you to put in the legwork. And more importantly, before we get into the Carolina Panthers, if you're still watching these videos and you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate it. There are far more people watching than there are subscribed, and every subscribe helps. So help a brother out. Help a bunch of brothers. Brother? Can we say brother? I don't even know. Anyway, the Carolina Panthers. Coming in at third overall, and very deservedly. And let's get into their roster changes first, and then we will dive into the team and their coach. Carolina Panthers and Coach Jared had one handicap upgrade to their team, but it wasn't at a full value. He just met the requirements to get basically the minimum handicap upgrade, which is just over a 100-point upgrade. So he ended up trading Randy Baldwin to get Tommy Vardell, bringing in an elite level stat fullback to run behind Barry Foster, which on paper seems absolutely terrifying. At the end of season one, he made two very common Carolina Panther auto trades, and they are Tim McKyer for Vinnie Clark and Brett Maxey for B. Washington. These trades have been tested thoroughly and are almost automatic in every variation, every cart, everywhere. Those trades work very consistently, and they work within our rules. After season two, they traded Mark Carrier, the wide receiver, for Gary Clark out of Miami, giving them slightly better receptions. And then in season three, they again failed to get any successful trades and went down to a 50-point auto trade where they traded Jack Trudeau for John Freeze. John Freeze statistically is slightly better than Jack Trudeau, slightly worse than the starting quarterback in Carolina, Frank Reich. So he's a slightly better upgrade at wide receiver 2, and kind of puts the Panthers in a position where they could consider rotating their quarterbacks. The other moves that they made is they cut Darian Connor to sign Jack Del Rio, which is a big move. They cut John Casey to sign Al Del Greco, which is fine. John Casey's a fine kicker. Getting rid of him isn't a big deal, but he was able to acquire Al Del Greco. And then there's some other move. Frank Stamms, it looks like, got cut for Antonio London, which I believe is a downgrade, but I'm not certain. After that, we have he cut Emerson Martin, who's one of the worst offensive linemen in the game, and Kurt Hawes to pick up Joe Panos and Johnson. Both of those are decent upgrades. Almost anybody's an upgrade over Emerson Martin. He's one of the worst offensive linemen in the game. And then for season 3, the last upgrades, they cut G. Williams at D-line and Greg Cragen at D-line and signed Shane Dronett and James Harris. The James Harris, Greg Cragen move is kind of parallel almost. They both just kind of suck. G. Williams for Shane Dronett is kind of similar. Dronett's slightly better rated in our system. But it's kind of a wash. But that was all that was available for Carolina. So that's what you're looking at. Overall, roster-wise, there's a lot of similarities to the base roster here. A lot of the upgrades are decent upgrades. There's no doubt about that. But they haven't helped necessarily put Carolina into the realm that they kind of want to be in. And we'll get into that a little bit here. Offensively, you've got Howard Griffith, who as a drone fullback is totally serviceable. My experience is that he plays fairly well out of the backfield. Tommy Vardell is the guy that he picked up, and Tommy Vardell is just better. Statistically, he's better. Outside of maybe that agility, nope, they have the same agility. So Tommy Vardell is equivalent to or better than Howard Griffith in every way, and 69 hitting power is as high as it gets offensively, outside of the couple of exceptions at fullback. Actually, I guess maybe there's a tight end. There might be a tight end or two that go above 69 hitting power. But this backfield of Foster and Vardell is the moneymaker, right? But in order to make them capable of doing what they need to do, which is getting into the open field, you need to be able to work in the passing game, and that is where the Carolina Panthers have struggled. Don Beebe has been found to be a very good downfield threat, but it's not an elite level passing game like you would see in a New Orleans or a Chicago, throwing to Michael Haynes with Jim Everett, or even a Steve Walsh to Michael Timpson. You're not getting that elite level where you have a 63 max speed, 63 receptions guy. He's only got 44 receptions, and he's got Frank Reich, who is the best of the 44, 44, 44 quarterbacks in the game, which is not a great stat line, but it's very serviceable. And then what he has behind that is he's got Dwight Stone, who is a phenomenal kick returner, and has been a big part of Jared's Panthers. And then he's got Gary Clark, who's a 63 receptions, nice and slow wide receiver 2 player. And then he's got Willie Green, who is a 50 receptions, nice and slow wide receiver 2 player. So you're going to see some rotation between Clark and Green, but you're almost always going to see Don Beebe at wide receiver 1, excepting when he's legitimately in bad, at which point you're going to see Clark and Green, and then you have a choice between Metzelars, who statistically looks like he's a better player. He's got good hitting power, he's got good receptions, which for a tight end, those are the two stats you look at. But his ball control is low, and tight ends tend to catch the ball in the middle of the field. And Metzelars is so slow that he's never making it to the sidelines. So his likelihood of fumbling is significantly higher. Whereas a guy like Johnson, who doesn't have the receptions and doesn't have the elite hitting power, has way better ball control, slightly better speed stats. So Johnson's gonna catch better wide open and hold on to the ball better, while Metzelars is gonna catch the ball better, and you're not going to throw interceptions when he's covered as frequently, but the possibility of him fumbling is always there. So in order for the Panthers to succeed, they need to get their passing game going, and they need to figure out how to get the passing game going, and that relies on being able to make those deep throws to a guy like Don Beebe at the right times, but also being able to force coverage on the deep pass and then dump it down low to his better playmakers, like Foster and Vardell, coming out of the backfield, and getting them to make plays past coverage, especially if he's facing a lot of goal line defenses, which he does. Defensively, the Panthers are probably, they're not the best, but they're one of the best base NFC defenses. And the reason for that is Sam Mills, who is a very good statistically. His agility is 63, which is massive at linebacker. His speed stats aren't great, but he always feels like he plays above them. He feels fast. His hitting power at 50 is low for an elite linebacker, but he seems to play above that at times as well. So Sam Mills is really good. And the 25 interceptions is a slight upgrade over base. But they also acquired Jack Del Rio out of free agency, which gives them a little bit more hitting power over Mills. Decent speed because they have that higher rushing power. And decent agility. They have that 56, that baseline, what you really want at agility. And then they've got 38 interceptions, making Jackie D a 50 interceptions guy and excellent, which gives them good coverage. But they don't need that necessarily for man control because they've got Bubba McDowell, who is an elite level safety, plays like an elite level safety, and comes up big a lot of the times with interceptions. Despite his only 50 interceptions, he comes up big. And then they've got B. Washington behind him, who is usable. He's man usable. He's got enough rushing power, and his other stats are decent enough that he's a solid backup safety. So this team's just got so many options. You've got Vinnie Clark, and then you've got CB Panthers, who they have a lot of lower interceptions guys, but the lower is 38, right? And they all have decent speed stats. CB Panthers have got decent speed stats. Rod Smith, Fred Foggy's the one guy who's just absolutely terrible. And even he is better than a lot of defensive backs on other teams for a number 7, right? Their real issue is up here at D-line. Their D-line's not great, but you're not relying on the D-line of this team to do things for you. You have so much hitting power on the field. You have other linebackers, like there are 4 linebackers. Carlton Bailey's 56, Lamar Lathan is 56. There's so much hitting power on the field for this Carolina team that it's really hard to beat them by just running the ball a lot. So you need to find ways to stretch the field in your passing game. And they even have decent interceptions. It's a tough defense to deal with, and it's a really strong situation for Coach Jared to be in. So we rank him at number 3. If he can figure out his short and long passing game and how to make that passing attack work and open up his running game a little bit more, there's no reason that Jared couldn't win a Man Bowl with this team. He has played really well with them the entire iteration. He's been to one Man Bowl. They're ranked number 3 because that's where they belong. And same as his brother, if Jared wants to win a Man Bowl with this team this season, it just comes down to whether or not he's going to get himself ready. And we'll see. But like his brother, and like just about everybody else, I know you're watching these because you really want to have sex with Jared.